Many thanks to all the radio enthusiasts, both shortwave listeners and amateur radio operators, who responded so positively to my recent YouTube video and blog post titled Long Path Propagation: An Introduction for Shortwave Listeners. I'm delighted that you found it both educational and enjoyable. Sometimes it can be tricky to tell how a specific post or video will be received by you, my fellow radio mates, but that one definitely seemed to hit the mark. If you haven't watched that video or read the blog post, it might be a good idea to do so before we get into today's discussion, especially if you're not familiar with propagation characteristics. This new video could make more sense once you've viewed the previous video. We are in the last month of winter here in Australia, so a few DX opportunities might become a bit harder to pick up as we move into spring. However, there's one more example of long path propagation I'd like to share before we leave this topic. The Office de Radiodiffusion Télévision du Mali, also known simply as Radio Mali, is currently audible here at Mount Evelyn on the 49 metre band frequency of 5995 kHz via the long path in our late afternoons. It's another excellent example of long path propagation. And in preparing for this video, I also located the transmitter site, so we'll discuss that as well. However, let's check out the recording I made on August 6th, just before 0700 UTC, or 5 PM here at Mount Evelyn, and then we'll come back and discuss a few things. Okay, so how did the Radio Mali signal reach us this time? Just like in the previous video, I've prepared two maps showing the Great Circle paths to my home here at Mount Evelyn. These maps are calculated as of 0700 UTC on August the 6th, showing the all-important terminator at that moment. The short path map shows the solid green line heading south along the western side of Africa, passing through part of the southern Indian Ocean and up to my location at Mount Evelyn. At 0700 we can see that sunset is approaching here, while in Bamako it has just passed sunrise. But the main point is that the entire signal path is in sunlight, meaning that absorption of the 49 metre band signal will be the highest along this route and has absolutely no chance of making it to Mount Evelyn. Now let's refer to the long path map shown by the dotted red line. We can clearly see that almost the entire signal path is in darkness, except for the early morning light in Bamako and the approaching sunset at Mount Evelyn. This Great Circle signal travels over the North Atlantic, through southern Canada and across the vast Pacific Ocean. Along its 23,800 kilometre journey, most of the path crosses oceans, which, as we pointed out in the last video, offers much better reflectivity than when travelling over land masses. Now, if I'd recorded this reception at the super quiet Kirk Kiln Regional Park like I did for the last video, this signal would have sounded even better. But on this occasion, here at home, I had to deal with a somewhat higher noise floor. In decades gone by, when every West Coast African nation operated its own domestic shortwave service on the 60 and 49 metre bands, we often picked up their long path signals in our late winter afternoons. Today, they've all shifted to the AM and FM bands, leaving only Radio Mali as the regular wintertime visitor down on those lower frequencies. I spent some time today snooping around on Google Maps to locate the transmitter site. Now, some lists mention Bamako as the site, while others say Kati is the transmitter site, which is about 25 kilometres northwest of Bamako. In fact, the site is situated between both towns, near Sananfara, on the outskirts of Kati, and 6 kilometres northwest of Bamako's Monument of Independence. The site covers approximately 10 hectares, and by studying the Google map closely, you can see antenna arrays, verticals, and satellite dishes. The shortwave antennas were designed to cover much of West Africa. Unfortunately, there are no street views of the site, so we can only rely on the aerial perspective. However, in a recent online news report, I found a partial ground level view of the antennas behind the dignitaries in this photo. 50 kilowatt transmitters were supplied and built by the Chinese decades ago, and they still seem to be operating satisfactorily today. So there it is, another example of long path propagation. As I pointed out in the last video, short path signals are the norm for most shortwave transmissions. However, we do have these long path exceptions that make monitoring these signals more interesting. If you've enjoyed this video, hit the like and subscribe buttons. If you didn't enjoy the video, well, hit the like and subscribe button anyway. Thanks for watching, folks. 73s, and wishing you the best of DX.